Hey guys, Safety Dave here. So I'm going to show you guys how to set up our brand new DBI solid cable horizontal lifelines. So here's how you'll find them. They'll be in the coffins. There's about 3 coffins. Actually, I think there's 4 coffins. And we have these, you'll see a little yellow strap around them. So this is how you keep them. You can carry them this way. This is a 100-footer. This is the biggest one we got. You'll notice, I mean, it just pretty easy, goes around your shoulder. We do have a cart. It's a yellow cart, kind of, I don't know, beige cart. You'll see it's got a bunch of hooks on it. I recommend that you load these up on the cart, go to the designated floor. It's got carabiners, so you can put your ratchet anchor straps and all your tools in there. And we're gonna go ahead and run through. So we're gonna pause the video, and Stuart and I are going to go ahead and run this line out and kind of show you. So what we're doing is we're going to install this. You'll notice here, Stuart, pan out. So we don't have the guardrail system, but we're going to simulate it as if we're setting it up on the floor to the outside of the column. So remember, this line is going to be set here at Bellevue Plaza at 41 inches, just an inch below the top guardrail. So since they're monocoating upstairs, we can't do that. So we're going to pause the video while we do that. Hey guys, so I want to talk about the intermediate ratchet anchor straps. So if you notice, down there we have our termination. That's our termination on the left. And over here, we have our termination on the right, all right? So this column and that column are our intermediates, and they act as a stanchion. But what we're gonna do on these ones, and I have about 24 of them already set up, 24 or 26, that already have carabiners. So if you notice a black bag in the coffin and it's got pink sprayed on it, those are the ratchet anchor straps that already have an extra carabiner on it. Those are our intermediates. And I counted out enough to do 6 floors worth. So you should have enough. You shouldn't need any extra carabiners. So these carabiners will go around our horizontal lifeline, but I'll show you that in a minute. Right now, I'm going to show you how to stretch our line and get it taut and install it. Okay guys, so after you've pulled your line out, you've got your carabiners on your intermediates, you've got it connected at your termination ends, you're going to want to take the loose line, you're going to want to connect it. That, how I connected it on my intermediate, and the reason being is because I've already installed a few of these, and what happens is as you start to tighten the line, you've got all that sag and it goes over the leading edge. It gets kind of heavy, so it's kind of hard to pull through, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So again, you're going to want to reach out. Remember your guardrails right here. We're simulating on the leading edge. You're going to want to put your line through there, all right, before you start tightening it. Okay, so now that once you've made sure you've put your line through your intermediates, remember, look, there's still slag here. These are going to get messy, that's okay, but we can easily clean them. It's really important before you start pulling the slack through and getting ready to tighten it that you have your turnbuckle out as far as you possibly can. All right? So this is designed to spin, all right? So real quick, this is your Zorbit. So this is a 100-foot line. On 100-foot lines, anything over 60 feet, is going to have 2 of these orbits, all right? Anything less than 60 feet, so 60 foot and less, we have 40-foot lines, 80-foot lines, and 100-foot. So our 80s and 100s, you'll notice, I'll show you on the other end, you'll notice that our 100s have pink spray paint sprayed. You'll notice that our 80s have blue spray paint sprayed on this orbit. And you'll notice that our 40s have green spray paint. And then the 40s are the only ones with just one Zorbit or shock absorber, all right? So again, make sure your turnbuckle is all the way out as far as you can go, because this is how you're going to tighten your line. All right, and I'm also going to recommend, you'll notice here, you can put a crescent on here on either side. I know some of you guys are going to want to use your bars. Just be careful that we don't break these. So we can replace them, but like I said, they get expensive. So you'll notice your Zorbit, this is your shock pack, this is your tension indicator, and this is your turnbuckle. This is how you tighten it. All right. All right, guys, so we're down at the other end now. This is your tensioner here. So we pull the cable through this. All right. So you'll notice, remember I talked about the pink? There's your pink. That's going to rub off, so every once in a while, when I do my periodic, I'll make sure I touch this up. You'll also notice here, it says 100, and then here's the decal. When you're inspecting this thing, make sure that the decals are still on here and still legible. You'll also notice our name. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling the tension through and getting this thing as tight as I can and pulling. So you'll notice this goes back and forth. Notice how that moves? See it? See it move? Say, that's loose. This is tight. So when I tighten that turnbuckle, the tighter this pulls this, the tighter this line gets, okay? And to loosen it or release it, you got to knock this forward. That's what this is for, actually. It's for like a dead blow, so you can smack it with a hammer once you've loosened your turnbuckle. So you want this loose to pull it through. So I'm going to pull. I'm going to pull as much of this through as possible, all right? Make sure this is, so you notice, this is already tight, all right? I can't really show you, I can't twist it. So it's already getting tight. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down to the other end, tighten the turnbuckle, and this thing will get taut. All right, guys, so remember how I told you the turnbuckle, we pulled it through as tight as we can get it, and now notice I still have this much gap. I've already put some miles on this turnbuckle, so I'm just kind of tightening it up. Now this is just by hand, and Stuart will show you, if you look down the line, it's already getting pretty tight, and I still got a ways to go. Now what I'm going to recommend is you use a crescent, or somehow, put your crescent around here. Just you guys you have experience with turnbuckles, so however you got to tighten this, you just got to make sure that you get this to show okay. So when you'll know when this is tight enough, when you put a little bit of pressure, it'll read into the okay. So we're going to tighten this as tight as we can get it. All right, so you notice this indicator, it's in the okay. So that means this is taut enough. It's in the okay on both sides. Okay, and that's because I tightened my turnbuckle up, and I still have a little bit of room. I can even go tighter, but it's good, all right? So that means that you'll have least amount of deflection. Now, if you look at this end, remember, this is the termination end. This is a 100-foot line that we've spanned 4 columns, all right? So, come down here. Now, I want to explain the intermediate. So, remember I talked about the carabiner around this intermediate? All right, so in the event of a fall, you're not going to go, this line will not deflect the full 100 feet. Does that make sense? So imagine these as a stanchion, just like in a guardrail, every 8 feet. So if you were to fall, say between this span here, say it's 30 feet, your free fall clearance can be calculated at 30 feet. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, I can explain it further. So if you step back, you notice here's our line. Now remember, Stuart and I had to set this up because we can't access the upper floors. But this is essentially what it's going to look like, except it's not going to go over a wall like this, all right? it's going to be set at 41 inches, so 1 inch below the guardrail, top rail. Also, I want to remind you, try to keep this line as horizontal as possible. Try not to, you can't have it down 6 inches from the top rail, 2 an inch. Try not to slope it. And that's just because in the event of a fall, you'd slope downwards, if that makes sense. You'd slide down the line. So we don't want to do that. But anyway, here's our new system. Like I said, we got 100s, 80s, 40s. If you have any questions, reach out to me or talk to your site supervisor. Thank you.